The weaponization of disclosure. Have you ever considered what the governments of the world might do with secret knowledge of advanced non-human life forms among Earth's citizens? Many of you probably have. Optimists among us might believe that the governments of the world would come together and present all information they have on advanced life forms to the public in an honest, straightforward manner. They would admit to people that the government is as shocked as the people, that they don't know very much about the visitors, but we're all going to learn together in a way that makes the visitors feel comfortable and welcome. They would tell us that this knowledge will better humanity, it will bring peace to the world, and it will solve our energy and environmental problems. They would tell us things are going to be okay and everything will be revealed to the people as it's being revealed to them. But here's a spoiler. Our governments did have that knowledge more than 70 years ago, and that's not what happened. What happened is this. To begin with, a press issue was released stating that the US Air Force had recovered a flying disc in the desert. Then, almost overnight, the entire story was changed and the media was told it was actually a weather balloon, despite several eyewitnesses claiming to see the wreckage in a debris field. These witnesses agreed it couldn't have been a weather balloon. This is all well documented by media outlets and government officials alike on both sides of the issue, so we'll likely never know exactly what it was that crashed in that field. This started a new field of study, and there's been an information war going on between so-called fringe ufologists and the government denials ever since. But that's not what this is about. After this, the US government began forming one committee after one another to look into these issues, including the Roswell crash, the thousands of sightings since, and statements by dozens of government employees turned whistleblowers accusing the government of secret programs and cover-ups. This video is not about that either. By now, the waters are so muddied that the truth about those events can never be known. This is about the apparent attempts by what some call a shadow government to turn the history of these events to their advantage. Ufologists say the government decided if you can't beat them, lie to them. As more people came forward, and as even military officials admitted sightings and encounters between Air Force pilots and crews, they sought to leak a little information at a time, and even released some edited footage of these UAPs outperforming the most state-of-the-art aircraft known to man. The CIA was forced to declassify and release millions of documents involving UAPs through FOIA requests. By then, the question was no longer if the government had knowledge of UAPs. The question was, why had they lied to the public for 7 decades? And when can we expect disclosure? Little by little, it became obvious to the public that government elements had been manipulating the media in order to control what we know and when we know it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but for me, here are the key takeaways. The military-industrial complex, along with these rogue government elements, at some point made a decision to portray any alleged contact with advanced intelligence as a threat to national security, in an effort to justify skyrocketing military spending. Some say false flag operations have been and are being conducted in order to frighten the public into believing advanced technologies must pose a threat. And therefore, the public will agree that ridiculous increases in defense spending are warranted to avoid an invasion by the non-humans. For the most part, the public hasn't raised much concern over this, so the spending continues, even though no real threat has been proven imminent or even very likely. Still, it's happening. Trillions are funneled to black budget programs. In other words, the military caused a panic to convince the public that there must be a threat. Some even believe the military actually wants a war, whether the non-humans do or not, in order to take possession of these advanced technologies. After all, when America is at war, the generals are deciding what's best for the people. There are also concerns that this perceived threat by the military could be used as a way to enforce and ensure that so-called social norms are kept in place by powers that be. What better way to bring the people back in line than to scare the daylights out of them? Another way to weaponize disclosure is to limit and dominate all attempts at communication with the visitors. The military would handle all communication attempts, ensuring that nothing gets in or out of these attempts other than what falls in line with military agenda. To oversimplify, the visitors say hello, but the Pentagon tells the people they said, "We're invading." Another possible manipulation attempt might not even come from the military. Powerful religious organizations, such as the Vatican, could conceivably claim that they knew that the visitors were coming and had been in contact with them. It's not difficult to imagine how many different ways this could be presented to show believers that this must be related to the coming of the Messiah, or that everyone should attend that church and increase monetary support. In this instance, religions would undoubtedly claim that they're the ones who should be in control of the communication attempts. And it goes on and on. These are just a few of the ways that powerful organizations the world over have been attempting to weaponize, control, and monopolize what is probably the most profound event in the history of our race. It didn't start yesterday, and it's not going to stop tomorrow. For many decades, our most trusted organizations have been steering us toward a desired outcome. But this is partially happening because we are allowing it. A few positive steps would be increased government transparency, true public oversight of all government programs, and to approach situations with a calm head instead of the military's paranoid and distrustful heart. Disclosure is coming. It can no longer be stopped. And, in spite of what our military leaders and rogue government elements seem to believe, I think it will bring about peace and prosperity never before seen. I hope you can see it that way.